Today my brother and I decided to sit down in front of a microphone and discuss what makes contrasting characters in media so appealing. Here's the following result. This documentary will be discussing the following themes. Viewer discretion is advised. Spoiler warning for the following. What do you think of, what comes to mind when contrasting characters, when it comes down to, the shape of the characters that they're designed as?
Well, when it comes down to it, it's when you look at the contrast, you're always trying to find the opposites, the angles versus softness. When you've got a cute protagonist, they always have rounded features, big eyes. Try to look some degree of cute, and then you got the bad guys or the anti-heroes. Straight jaw, like that triangle. You could cut your finger on that jawline kind of thing. Even the ears sometimes come out pointy. Eyes also angular, like they're glaring into your very soul, telling you how much of a disappointment you are.
And in terms of colour scheme?
Again, if you look for contrast, you can't go much different than, say, opposites on the colour wheel. Red and blue, black and white.
50 Shades of Grey.
We're not talking about that book series is an antagonist. It's the basic humanity.
Okay, so what about contrasting weapons?
Well, sometimes you can have one using a bow, one using a sword. If both are using swords, one could be big and heavy, the other one can be sort of flexible. Like a broadsword versus a rapier, katana versus a claymore, that kind of thing.
Okay, so taking into consideration the previous questions, which two characters do you say come to mind the most?
Oh, plenty of them. There's Dante and Virgil from Devil May Cry, Dante and Virgil from the DMC remake that the DMC fanbase would like to forget about. Guts and Griffith from Berserk.
Yep.
The brothers from Inuyasha. I can't remember the other guy's name.
I cannot remember his name either.
Issei and Vali from High School DxD. Darth Vader and Luke from Star Wars. Anakin and Obi-Wan from Star Wars.
So, could you say with Guts and Griffith, for example, could you say that there's something more along the lines of them having contrast in terms of theming?
Oh yeah, even the personality is different, especially when you want to do rivalry characters.
Yeah.
So going back to Dante and Virgil, they have differences on what power means. Guts and Griffith have differences of, because they came from the same place. They could arguably come to the same conclusions, but they didn't. So that gives questions of nature versus nurture. And for those who have read Berserk, only if you're over the age of 18. Spare yourself the nightmares.
Trust me, we know.
Screaming Moon. There's an idea of fate versus choice. Guts is a character who fate has stepped on basically his entire life, but he keeps fighting anyway. Griffith is someone who's been gently guided by fate, and then proceeded to step on everyone else. Among other things, don't read if you're under the age of 18.
Going back to Dante and Virgil, you could talk about compassion versus power.
No, even that, even just power as a whole, how they view it. Dante views power as he doesn't need it. He'll have it. He'd love it if he has it because he likes styling and it helps him protect the people that have come to mean something to him. Trish, Lady, even Patty from the anime.
Patty from the anime, Lucia to an extent because we see that in the manga of DMC 5.
He uses power to protect them, but he doesn't need it. He gets rid of most of it. He gets rid of most of his weapons between games, but he sticks with the ones he has the most sentimental value towards.
Now for a big one, archetypes.
Ooh.
What do you say are the most common archetypes that you actually hear of?
The hero, the anti-hero, the villain with a heart of gold, outright destructive villain, the villains you love to love, the villains you love to hate, the heroes you love to love and the heroes you love to hate. Because there's always that one character that's obsessed with justice but uses it as an excuse just to do terrible messed up things, like that one admiral from One Piece.
Or characters like Seiyu from Akame the Kill.
Oh yeah, her and her dog.
And then also the...
I usually like dogs in anime. She made me dislike a dog in anime.
Is that a JoJo reference?
No, but... Good God, that's not... No, we're not talking about JoJo. We're not talking about the dogs in JoJo because that makes me sad. They're all fine. They're all alive. Don't watch if you're over the age of 50.
But definitely something that I like is when you have that one archetype and you have characters that contrast each other based on that archetype.
I wouldn't say so. But I always find the different ideals to be best. I'd say that two different archetypes can work better when you're a character between trying to do a rivalry. Going back to Berserk, Guts and Griffith, they are different archetypes. Guts is a follower while Griffith is a leader.
Griffith could actually be a good example of the Ubermensch, for example.
Third Reichy, that line of philosophy. Am I allowed to say that on this? Am I allowed to mention the Twisted X Brigade?
Nope.
But no, when they're the same, when they have the same archetype, it can be fun to watch, see how they do things differently. You can look at, say, Batman and Superman. They're two examples of a hero, but while Batman is a hero in the shadows, using fear as intimidation as a weapon, Superman uses hope, which is, I imagine, easier when you've got arms the size of cannonballs and strength to move planets. But you know, the character contrasts are there, and they do butt heads based on their style.
Yeah, I think definitely one that comes to mind is like Shiro Emiya and Archer from Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works in particular. For context, Archer feels the sense of dysphoria because they are the same person fundamentally. They are both Shiro Emiya.
But
Archer is basically what Shiro is trying to be. He is his end goal.
oh, that's nice. So seeing the end of the hero's journey versus the beginning, there'd obviously be some friction there between their character interactions. Like I'm guessing here, but young Archer would probably see his younger self as immature, naive, and Shiro would probably see his elder self as a bit of a dick.
Oh yeah, definitely. Archer feels a sense of dysphoria between the dream he wants to obtain versus his repetitive life as Counter Guardian. The Unlimited Blade Works reality model is actually one of the best examples of this, purely because you look at it and all of a sudden Archer's is basked in twilight with endless gears up in the sky revolving endlessly, representing his repetitive life as a Counter Guardian, while Shiro Emiya's has clear blue skies, it's open fields. It doesn't have that, it reveals an open hope. And the way that they actually see the blades in their marbles is actually a representation of how they see themselves. Archer sees them as an entity on the graves of the amount of people he's killed, while Emiya sees them as how many times he has to die to save everyone on the planet.
Oh wow, that's dark. But again, go to something I know for a second. Star Wars, Vader and Luke.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, Vader sees Luke as everything he could have been, but he's on the precipice of it. He's at that crossroads that Vader was on during Episode 3. He's got loved ones. He has attachments, and he can go one way to be with them and save them. Either way, for the dark side or the light side, by joining him and the Emperor, affirming Vader's worldview, or going the other way, and that creates conflict within Vader, allowing Vader to become Anakin again. But yeah, like you said, looking at the past and the present can be an interesting way to write two diametrically opposed characters.
I think a pretty big one is like Naruto and Pain comes to mind.
Oh yeah, same master, same beliefs, but
They are both ordinary men in pursuit of justice.
Okay, let's be honest here. Naruto and Pain are not ordinary men. Naruto was the son of the fourth Hokage. He had the Nine Tails put him from birth. Obito was one of the first people to awaken the Rinnegan in centuries. They were not ordinary men. They were.
Don't you mean Nagato?
Yes, Nagato. Obito.
Obito's the synth of Sixth House, if you will.
Oh, I so wanted to like him, but I just couldn't. His girl died, and now end the world. And yet, for some reason, and yet they still somehow managed to talk no jutsu. That's not the point, but. But yeah, characters that are on the journey together, or at two different places in the journey that can work well.
Ellen Light Yagami.
Ellen Light Yagami, they're at the same place in their journey. They're at the
They're both in their primes.
They're not in the same. Well, they're not in the same place in their journey. So Light was just coming into his own as a serial killer. Let's not just push past that. He was a serial killer.
Yeah, but
for right reasons. But yeah, still that. L was already a world-renowned detective. Every police force in the world knew the name of L. It's why the Japanese contacted him.
Yeah. I think one of the best I can think of in like Omoto Kisa and Ryan Kishibe from Kengan Ashura definitely comes to mind.
Yeah, they're both fighters, but and they're both on destroyer's path essentially.
Yeah, and plus think about their strongest forms: the advanced versus the removal.
The only difference is Oma's will kill him.
Oma's is physical, while
spoilers. Whoops.
While Ryan's is much more mental.
I wouldn't say that. It's unlocking. It's giving his brain the ability to keep up with his body's abilities.
Yeah, while Oma's increases velocity.
Yeah, which does damage to his body, but
it's a contrast in ability, for example.
Yeah, it's also why Raihan's comes out purple and Oma's comes out red.
And if you want to bring that up as well, Kana Akito with Formless.
Yep, the ability to just sort of be as Bruce Lee said, if anyone doesn't know Bruce Lee, educate yourself. Watch Enter the Dragon. Is that the name of the movie? Oh Christ, I'm gonna look like a dick if I'm wrong on that. But watch some Bruce Lee movies. He said something brilliantly. Be like water, and that's exactly what Kana is. That's exactly what Kana Wakito is in Formless. He is water. You want to come out as a boxer, he'll match you as a boxer. You want to come out as a grappler, he'll come at you as a grappler. You can be literally anything. Whereas Oma and Raihan are sort of set in their
with
styles.
their fighting styles.
Yeah.
But I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah. So why did this just feel like a regular conversation that we have on the daily?
Because it was.